All right, ready? All right, more revolution. Let's just kick off this series with this video right here, very beginning. Go ahead and roll me the video.
And David makes this incredible statement. He says, "Far be it from me that I should offer to God something that costs me nothing." See, here's the deal. Your virginity is the ring. It's a trophy, and everyone is trying to get it. And what makes your virginity powerful, see, the reason why you have a sex drive years before God wants you to have sex inside of covenant is because the value of your virginity is in the blood, sweat, and tears it takes to get it from the battlefield to the bedroom, so that on your honeymoon night, you have something to offer your lover that you had to fight to keep. See, anyone can give away something expensive. Anyone can give away something expensive. But only people who understand sacrifice can give away something valuable. See, your virginity is a trophy. This is your mission if you should receive it. That you would take your trophy, you would take your virginity from the battlefield all the way to the honeymoon suite without dropping it. See, God's the one who gave you a sex drive. And he said it was very good. The question is, what does it mean to have a sex drive? No. See, what it means to have a sex drive, what it means is that you want to have sex with somebody. That's what it means. You're not supposed to be delivered from your sex drive. The goal is not to get rid of your sex drive. The goal is to learn to manage your appetite. That's the goal.
A few years ago, Jordan Sparks had a #1 hit song there, "Why Is Love Always Like a Battlefield?" Anybody remember that? So why is real love, agape, sacrificial love? Why is sacrificial love like a battlefield? Well, because like Chris said, because of the blood, sweat, and the tears, the sacrifice it takes to get it from the battlefield to the bedroom. It's not easy to navigate that field. It's not easy to maintain your purity from an early age all the way through to that time of marriage, because everything in our culture, everything around us is telling us there's no problem with hooking up, there's no problem with this, it's no big deal, it's just sex, and what's it matter? And that's through TV, through music, through everything. It's coming out all the time. Again, it's a war to navigate your purity from the battlefield in our culture, our society, our media, and make it all the way into the bedroom unaffected. It's going to take more than a casual commitment to purity to stay pure. Let me say that one more time, because that's the thing you need to hear right now. It's going to take more than a casual commitment to purity than for you to stay pure. If all you have is a casual idea in your head, I'm just going to wait till I get married and kind of stuff. If you don't have a firm resolution in your heart of why you're going to wait, you won't wait. If you don't know whose you are and who you are, you will not wait. Now, again, we're not railing condemnation. If any of you guys have fallen along the thing, as we progress through this series, there's going to be times of healing and restoration. It's going to be good. And so we're not here throwing stones at anyone who's messed up. But can I tell you, you don't have to mess up. That's a lie of the enemy. It's a lie of the culture. I want you guys to just look really quickly back there at my beautiful bride in the purple. Love of my life. I want you to know that when we first met, Lord have mercy, my wife successfully navigated middle school, high school, college, dating, even dating me, from the battlefield to the bedroom. So you cannot tell me it's impossible to do, because she did it. Now, I didn't know Jesus before we met, and so I was a fool prior to meeting Jesus. But after I met Jesus, he changed my life. And then I met my beautiful wife, and we made a resolve together, and we navigated together from the battlefield to the bedroom. And although I couldn't give her what I wanted to give her on my wedding night because of my failures in the past, I believe that God still, for me, made it special because of the sacrifice during our time of dating. Because he at least allowed me to make it worth fighting for. There was something there. So if you've made mistakes over the past, you don't have to keep making them. You can choose now to stop and fight for something to give on your wedding night. Does that make sense? With me? Okay. All right. And so if you're going to do it, it takes more than just a casual commitment. It's going to take something like, I don't know, next video, please.
Since we're going to separate colleges and we're not ready to be engaged, I wanted to ask if you'd be engaged to engage in purity with me.
I'd be honored to be engaged to engage in purity with you.
And while we're apart, these purity rings will be a semi-binding reminder of our limited commitment to each other.
That's confusing, but cute, but also really dumb. When temptation hits, what are those rings going to do?
They're a symbol of our...
This is a symbol, honey. Those are finger decoration.
Wait!
Hey, what you need is an ironclad chastity safeguard, what we like to call the Purity Ring 3000. Symbols and promises are great if you're a cartoon monkey living in a coloring book in the 1600s. But today, in the real world, what you need is something with a little more oomph. The Purity Ring 3000 isn't just a ring. It's a fully automated personal chastity defense system. It comes embedded with a GPS tracker that lets someone keep tabs on you at all times.
She's on the move.
It's 9 a.m. She's probably on her way to class.
No time. Go, 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 go.
It is also preloaded with abstinent incense, proprietary scientifically formulated scent that is automatically emitted if too many pheromones of the opposite sex are detected in the air.
It's not me. It's the purity ring.
Nothing pure about that.
When the ring detects an increase in heart rate due to inappropriate desire, it triggers an ear-piercing alarm and blinding strobe light. And if you're lecherous enough to actually make physical contact, the Purity Ring 3000 immediately kills the nearest fuzzy animal. Is this what you wanted? And if things really get bad, the Purity Ring 3000 kicks into full chastity lockdown mode, projecting a pre-recorded image of your mother staring at you in disappointment. Try compromising your virtue with dear old mom looking back at you. Didn't think so. Why leave your honor and integrity to chance?
I found one.
Don't trust your virtue to a silly old-fashioned piece of scrap metal. And trust it, the Purity Ring 3000. Promises are nice, boundaries are great. But if you really want to remain virtuous, you need a ring that shoots lasers. The Purity Ring 3000. Not meant as a replacement.
So, reality is there's no Purity Ring 3000. There's no piece of paper. There's not even a prayer by itself that's going to take you from the battlefield to the bedroom successfully. The reality is simply this. If you fail to plan, you've already planned to fail. And so tonight I want to talk to you guys just briefly about how to create a plan to stay pure or to regain and walk it from this point forward. And so 6 pieces of a plan, 6 pieces of a purity plan to get you from the battlefield to the bedroom. We want to go over these 6. The first one is don't feed the monster in the basement. The second one is a sustained vision. Third, I'm going to say them again in a second. If it's not for sale, don't advertise. Number 4, the mind really matters. Number 5, be accountable. And 6, have some common sense boundaries. All right, so number 1, don't feed the monster in the basement. I remember one time we were pastoring in Kentucky. I had a young guy come up to me after service one day. He'd been battling with lust and some other issues there for quite some time. And he said, man, please pray for me. I just can't get rid of lust. And I was like, okay, Jed. I'll just call him Jed for safety's sake. You wouldn't know him if I said it. That wasn't his real name. Hey, so I said, hey, Jed. I said, let me ask you a question. Like, what are you watching on TV at night? Well, this was back in the day when, Baywatch was real big. And was on syndicated quite a bit and stuff. And so he liked to watch reruns of Baywatch, especially the intros, over and over again. And I said, Jed, I'm sorry. I could get a whole tub of Crisco, put both hands in it, and rub it all over your head, and it's not going to help you. There's no prayer that's going to set you free from what you're allowing into your eyes. I'm like, you don't have a lust problem. You've got a TV problem. You've got a dumb problem. I'm like, you're wanting God to fix something that you're not willing to work with Him on fixing. And so, I'm just saying that if you don't allow boundaries, if you don't make yourself accountable, if you don't submit yourself to the Spirit and the Word of God, you will not manage your freedom wisely. God gave you a sex drive. He's not trying to get rid of it or turn it off or make it go away. That's just the reality. God made sex and He said it was good. And everybody who's married said, yes, Lord, thank you, Jesus. And so it is. It's a wonderful blessing, a great thing that God gave us. And He gave you that drive. But like the man said earlier, the reason you have the drive now before you ever get married is so you have something of value to fight for, to give on your wedding night. And so, again, God gave you that, and He said it was good. The church has tried to shame it. The world's perverted it. But you are the one who has to manage it. Sex is like a gremlin. Another wonderful 80s movie. Anybody ever seen The Gremlins? Man, the sex is like the Gremlins. Really. It's a wonderful thing if you follow the rules. You know, like the Gremlins. Don't feed it after midnight. Don't put water on it. If you follow the rules, man, Gizmo is wonderful. But when you break the rules, that gnarly looking thing that causes trouble comes out and it just wreaks havoc all over town. Seriously. That's sex, man. When you follow listen, He's not like this big buzzkill. God's not trying to kill your fun and your pleasure. What He's really trying to do is to protect you from being hurt or from hurting someone else. He's trying to get you to see how much you're really worth in His eyes. And so that way then you can create a marriage and a covenant built off of something that can last a lot longer. Because, the reality is, because of our age of promiscuity and people messing around so much prior to marriage, marriages now end over 50%, 55% in divorce. You can't tell me that a big reason of that isn't because people don't fool around before they get married. If you want something that's going to last, you got to fight for it ahead of time. Again, God gave it to you. It's not a bad thing, but you've got to manage it. So what are ways we can feed that monster? Well, one of them is through the eyes. Job 31:1 says, I made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully after a woman or a man. I've made a covenant with my eyes. You got to make a covenant with your eyes. I'm not going to watch Maroon 5 and get crazy over Adam Levine. That was funny, sorry. That was a previous conversation. It was funny, sorry. All right. Or watch P.S. I Love You and have a thing for Gerard Butler. That's my wife. You got to make a covenant with your eyes to not look after a man or a woman lustfully. If you subject your eyes, listen up, if you subject your eyes to sexually charged content, you're setting yourself up for failure. And the media tries to mix comedy with sex in order to numb you to the severity of sex outside of covenant. We become numb then to the reality of sin and numb to destruction that it brings to us and others. Matthew 6:22 says that the eye is the lamp of the body. If the eye is single, the whole body is full of light. The word single here is the word, it literally means without compromise. If you're not compromising your heart with what you look at, you'll bring wholeness and purity to your whole body. But when you're compromising with your eyes, you're opening yourself up to be deceived on the inside. Also, another way is through our ears. Did you know that the imagination doesn't come from what you see? It comes from what you hear. Some of you guys, you love God and you would never submit your eyes to pornographic things. but yet you submit your ears to pornographic things all the time. You might not watch it, but you'll listen to porn. Nicki Minaj, what? Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. Who are some of these other ones that sing? I listened the other day to some of the top songs, and almost every one of these top songs anymore have something to do with bumping, grinding, riding on my disco stick, all these craziness, man. You know what? Yeah, Gaga, Goo Goo, all these dumb ones. All they do is sing about sex. Why? So they can put the images into your mind to make you think about it in a fun way, so over time you become desensitized to the reality and the severity of the sin. And so we think we're okay because we wouldn't turn on a XXX movie, but we don't care to turn on XXX music. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm meddling now, ain't I? My bad. I'm not really. You need to hear it. Friends. Another way stuff gets in is through our friends. In the story of David and Goliath, before he fought the giant, he had to fight his brothers. Did you know there are friends in your life who do not want you to succeed because your badge of purity reminds them that they didn't wait? And so they want to do everything they can to make you mess up because they did. Do you realize that? I don't know what kind of a real friend that is, but you have to watch out for those because David had brothers like that, and you'll have friends like that. 1 Corinthians 15:33 is a very firm reminder. Bad company corrupts good character. If you want to see where you're heading in life, look at who you hang around. Number 2, second piece of the puzzle, the plan there, is you need a sustained vision. A sustained vision. Proverbs 29:18 says, if people can't see what's going on, they stumble all over themselves. But when they attend to what he reveals, they are happy. Another version says, where there's no vision, the people perish. This proverb is talking about the law of restraint or self-control. If you have a vision for your life, you restrain your options to capture the vision. Let me say that again. If you have a vision for your life, you restrain your options to capture that vision. But when there's no real vision of whose you are or who you are, when you don't really know that you are a son or a daughter of the Most High God, valued in His eyes, honorable, held in His eyes, when you don't know whose you are or who you are, if you don't know you're worth it, if you don't know you're valuable, if you don't know you have something to give, if you don't know whose and who you are, you will fail every time. Where there's no vision, we perish. When you're heading down, you'll waste your energy on temporal pleasures or trying to get out of pain if you don't have a vision for your life. Before you get into any relationship, again, you need to know whose you are and who you are. You got to know who you are before you start trying to figure out who someone else is. That's good. Let me say that again. You need to know you before you try to know somebody else. Right? Once you decide who and whose you are, life becomes easier because all you have to do then is live like you believe who you are and treat yourself as you've envisioned. Third piece of the puzzle. If it's not for sale, don't advertise it. This goes for men too, because I see, you guys want to post. You got guys on, TV and magazines and Facebook posting all them little V-cut pictures. Like now it's so sexy to be anorexic in the hips. What the crap's up with that? But anyway, so I'm not just talking just to girls. There's guys too. Listen, if you want to be admired, respected for who you are as a person, then you need to present your body in a way that sends that message. When the Federal Reserve picks up and transports cash and valuables from the bank, what do they use? An armored car. They don't use a sports car with the top down. Why? Because you're not going to ride around town advertising the valuables. You drive it off in an armored car. Why? Because what you're carrying is valuable. But if you don't know what you've got is valuable, You'll act like it's a sports car and flaunt it all around. Let me ask you, ladies, if you flaunt it around and push it out like that, what kind of men are you going to attract? And then you'll complain later on when they treat you the way they treat you and wonder why. I'm sorry if I'm being too real for you. Purity, virginity is so valuable because you have to fight to keep it. If you want to stay biblical, the Bible then tells us, Peter tells us, well, this is the Bible translation of 1 Peter, but he says, don't look like a hoe. That's 1 Peter translation of, it's in the Bible, I promise. That's my message Bible. I'm just translating my message. That's what it says. Because that's really what it says. Because Peter says, don't braid the hair and put the gold stuff in it and do all this kind of stuff. And his modesty thing he talks about. The reality is when Peter said that to the Christians of that day was because that's how the prostitutes dressed. So a literal translation of that would simply be, don't look like a hoe. That goes for all of us. Understand, there is a difference between looking pretty and looking easy. The Bible makes a reference of those who are pretty. The Bible talks about even God. People recognize women in the Bible said they were pretty in form and face. In other words, God understood. People understood when they were pretty people in the Word. But there's a difference between looking pretty and looking easy. Right? There's too many that present themselves as easy. Now, understand this, and please understand I'm not throwing stones at anyone because I understand this too. We live in a broken culture. We live in a fatherless society. And I understand that there's a lot of people in our culture, even girls in your schools, you shouldn't look at them with judgmental or degrading eyes. Some people dress the way they dress because they have no one who gives them attention at home. And this is a cry because they're looking for somebody to love them. And so if you might find yourself in that position, understand, man, God loves you. We love you. And you need to value yourself the way that He does and see yourself the way that He does. Number 4, another piece of this puzzle is simply the mind matters. People think that because they have thoughts that are wrong, they are sin. Can I tell you something? Just because you have a wrong thought does not mean it's sin. Understand, a thought is not sin. Because the devil, we all have thoughts, but the devil will throw thoughts into your mind too. We understand that. Just because you have a thought, even a wrong thought, is not sin. You have not sinned because you had a wrong thought. You sin when you let that thought stay in your head. You begin to roll around on it, think about it. Woo, you done took the image there, and next thing you know, you guys are off on the beach somewhere. Woo, it's done went to somewhere it should have never went. Say it again. Now you've went to. Thank you. And so you have to take authority over your mind. You need to think about what you're thinking. Again, the Bible is very clear about the power of our minds. And it's the being in the center part of all of our spiritual warfare. You need to know what you're thinking about and why you're thinking about it. You have to train your thoughts and actions to agree with your virtues and vision. Let me say that one more time. You have to train your thoughts and actions to agree with your virtues and vision. Now, for time's sake, I don't have time to read all these scriptures, so I'm just going to give them to you. If you want to write them down, go for it. Read them later. I promise they'll be beneficial to you. But Philippians chapter 4, verses 6 through 9 is about how to set your mind on things above, not below. And Romans 12, 1 through 2 is about the transformation that comes through the renewing of our minds. But you know what? Let me ask you this. Hold on. I'm just being a little sick. Now, who wants to drink this? Will somebody drink? Go ahead. Somebody drink it? Why? It's 98% pure. There's only 2% stuff in it, but it's still 90% pure. Romans 12, 1, 2 says, I beseech you by the mercies of God that you, would present your body a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable act of worship. Let me ask you, if 98% pure is not good enough for you to drink, why do you think 98% is good enough for him to accept? Oh, dang, it got quiet. That's an impromptu. Ooh, I like improv. Yeah, I'll drink it later. Let's go. All right, number 5. Next piece of the puzzle. Accountability. You need accountability in your life if you want to navigate this thing right. We are all called to be accountable. After you make a commitment to Jesus, you need to find somebody who will keep you accountable to your commitment and your convictions. Somebody that will help you navigate who you really are. So who should I submit to? Let me tell you right now, for accountability, it's not a friend. You don't need to try to be accountable to somebody who's got the same problems you got. All you have is a pity party and a sorry story going on back and forth. You need to find somebody who's got victory in the area you're failing in. You need somebody that you're accountable to, listen up, that it hurts you to disappoint them. If disappointing that person doesn't bother you, you have the wrong person. Accountability requires you to invite somebody else to put encouragement, correction, love, and confrontation into your life. Yes. Accountability requires that you invite somebody else to put encouragement, correction, discipline, confrontation, and love into your life. Again, this does not make that person responsible for you. You have to first be accountable to your own virtues before you ask somebody else to hold you accountable to them. Otherwise, they're trying to get you to behave externally in a way that you're not committed to internally. Does that make sense? Or maybe you just need a good slap. Video, please.
Having trouble living right? Headed down the wrong path? Struggling to break old habits?
I can do this all night.
What you need is a good slap.
Who are you?
I'm your new extreme accountability partner. Is there anything you'd like to tell me?
Get out of my house?
What you've been watching?
It's the History Channel.
There's no naked people on the History Channel.
At SLAP, extreme accountability isn't just a job, it's an obsession. That's why we designed our patented gentle correction slap gun.
How's that gentle? It's not a fist.
What are your intentions with Lindsay?
Sure, we've been known to go overboard on occasion.
I just met her. We're just eating ice cream with the rest of our small group.
But our philosophy is, it's better to go overboard than underboard.
What was that for?
Gluttony.
Strict lockdown accountability partners for all your extreme accountability needs.
Don't like the way you're looking at her, Tom.
That's my sister.
Oh. Does she have a boyfriend? You got me. I deserve that one.
If you're having trouble changing your ways, you might just need a good slap. We love our clients too much to let them ruin their lives. And believe me when I say that our gentle correction hurts us more than it hurts our clients. Most of the time.
So, number 5, accountability. We need somebody to be accountable to. And number 6, I'm closing on this one because our time is up, and that's simply you need some common sense boundaries in place. Number 1, group dating. Listen, I know, like, I just want to go with me and Jimmy just want to go watch the movie and go out to eat, and he gonna make me home by ourselves. And no, I know you think you can do it, but you can't. I'm gonna be honest with you right now. You can't do that. You might get about 1 or 2 dates like that, but by the 3rd or 4th one, you're like, ooh, let's stop at the park. Ooh, let's swing. I'll forget the swings. It's cold. Let's stay in the car. No. Once you stop compromising, it's a slippery slope until you continue all the way. You have to be serious. You need to put boundaries in place. I'm going to be honest with you. It's hard for Christians to maintain their purity. I mean, let alone anybody in the world, but if you're going to follow Christ, it's hard for us these days, man, with it all around us. If you're going to do it, you need a group date. Because it's kind of hard to get freaky in a group unless you're in the wrong kind of group. I'm just saying. So group dating. Don't put yourself in a position like, well, I'm a super Christian. I've been loving the Lord for a long time now. You know what you are? You're prideful and you're going to fall. Because the moment you think you're strong enough to make it, you've already failed. The reality is, the moment you realize and you come to the revelation that you are weak, then you'll actually be strong. Next thing is, keep it vertical. Horizontal, man, the blood leaves your head and you begin to think stupid. So always keep it vertical. Keep your clothes on. It's kind of hard doing things stupid with your clothes on. Just saying. Just the simple. There's a lot more stuff, but simply, you know what? Common sense boundaries that you know that you need to put in place before you have to make the decisions. If you do these 6 things and commit to them, you can navigate it from the battlefield to the bedroom successfully and have something to give.
That's what people say, through peace and through suffering.